I'd like to welcome Julie Lineberger and Joseph Cincotta, and they're going to talk about their process.
So we're going to start with a video of, it explains WheelPad real quickly. I'm going to talk a little bit about our process of getting this from an idea to we have our first prototype actually installed, and then Joseph will go with his process.
WheelPad is a 200 square foot, eco-friendly, accessible bedroom and bathroom that can be attached to an existing home. So it makes it that if a family member all of a sudden has mobility issues, say becomes paraplegic or quadrapalegic, the minute that family member comes out of rehab, this can be already attached to the home so they have a wheelchair accessible ramp with a connector to the existing home. It keeps families together during crisis. So while the family is figuring out, are we going to renovate our home? Are we going to buy a new home? What are we going to do? That family member can be at home with family. They can roll into dinner. They can have access, but still have their privacy, their dignity, and be separate. Six years ago, a dear friend of ours had a horrible accident, ended up quadriplegic. Our team got very motivated to do something for Riley. We've kicked it around for 5 years. It was time to actually do something and provide this service to keep families together during times of crisis. Our entire staff at Lineberger Architecture was motivated and fascinated by this. Riley came on as an advisor, as we have other advisors as well, and we were so excited to be not only doing something that would be aesthetically pleasing and just fun to do, but was really serving a purpose for all kinds of people, whether they be elderly waiting for admission into assisted living, a hospice need in a family, someone who is just coming home from a war, any family that needs to be together in crisis, to be able to provide this and have it look good was a dream come true.
You'll be hitting this wood with the first coat of stain, then we'll be filling in all the cracks and the joints from here to here with caulking, and then we'll hit it over with a nice coat of paint to make it all smooth. This casing and this door was all going to be the white.
With the construction aspect, we worked with construction management students, we worked with architecture students, civil engineering students, you name it. Anyone who was free came in and was helping give their mindset to the project, construction-wise. Working with students and then also working with Lineberger really helped, I think, the project progress.
So they did a remarkable job getting us to where we are. This last bit, we've got the plumbers putting the final fittings. We got the electricians just did the wiring 2 days ago. We're all good with switches. I love that we got, some lights going on here.
So we'll have a ramp coming up the front with a front porch, and then out the side door we'll build a connection that goes through an existing window or door on your home. It stays on the trailer, and you can bring it to your home, and it can stay for as long or as little time as you need it.
So we vetted this floor plan and the design not only with our friends who are using wheelchairs, but also with nursing staff, PTs, OTs, physicians, home health care people. Everyone has had a look on this, and thankfully we've had a lot of good suggestions so that this prototype can be the best that it can be.
So as a home health nurse, we're Used to helping people have their best shot in their home. It's actually not easy to transition from being in a hospital or a rehab environment. What I like about WheelPad is that you actually have that opportunity for your best shot at success.
Because we know people heal faster, stronger, longer, quicker. Everything is better if they can do it at home.
There's a lot of light in here, a lot of windows, so that people can look out into nature or be with family, so that helps the healing process.
You can run your own space here. You've got the Hoyer lift that tracks you right to the bathroom, eliminates a whole bunch of transfers.
Bed transfers are actually something that your physical therapist will work with you specifically to learn. So there's a lot more to it than just in and out of bed. To have something like this, I mean, I really can't even say how wonderful that is.
Oh my gosh. It's so much easier.
Like when you put them in, if you're going to put rails in, is that you don't want to have splinters.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who use them wear gloves, but still you're going to get splinters from the wood.
So I really should have a handrail.
There we go.
There we go. This is just a phenomenal product because I'm not creaking. Have you ever been in a trailer? They always like.
Yep.
Did you hear any of that when we came in?
No.
No.
Just from you.
Because we've got these SIP panels and they have such great insulation, it's just a fan coil unit, electric fan coil unit. It'll heat this place up very quickly.
I know I like to have, I've got a dresser right next to my bed. So if I need something in the middle of the night, I can reach it and grab it.
We got this special high bed that actually allows for rollout. So we'll
Right,
be
that's
making these
huge.
rolls. So what we'll probably do is break it up into two things. One that comes out like half the bay, that's your night table. So it's not in the way of you getting to it, and you can kind of always leave it open. You know, this is easy. You can get this. You can.
And then you've got,
these-
oh, okay, cool. Oh, that's
Yeah.
easy. What if the table, because it's pretty big, and if it's up, I can't get in and out of bed. But what if you could make the table so it's two parts? You wouldn't have to put it down to get in and out of bed.
I think you can make it hinge all the way back. You'd raise it up a little bit and then let it key down into
Right.
its own
But if you
bridge.
look, if it was only this big, it wouldn't interfere as much with the head of your bed.
You're looking at actually all the mechanicals in this
Or
one.
right in that wall. The on-off switches, the plugs being at that level, if the plugs are low, you can't reach them. So at that level, I can plug things in. Yeah. Yep.
So this is one of the acrylic grabs, and we wanted to have this not look, again, institutional. So we had these custom made. There are two of them. This is the shorter one that goes over the back of the toilet, and then we have a full-length one that goes sort of right here.
You almost want to have some sort of grip on the bar, because if it's too slick and you've got soap on your hands will just slide right off. Well, getting in and out of rooms, it's hard to open and shut doors from different directions. So I can come out like this and then shut it from this side without having to back in and reach for it.
Did you pop a wheelie there?
A little.
Little wheelie.
You got it?
I haven't got the popped wheelie bit.
My pleasure.
Really, thank you.
This is great. It's very needed for a distinctly needy part of the population.
idea of how it was started. We're going now to the slides. Basically, it was because my godson, 4 days before his 26th birthday, became quadriplegic. And I was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And he bought a house, but before he got in that house, he was forced to live, he took a new job with Nike and could not find an accessible apartment where someone could help him, a caregiver could help him in the shower. So he lived in a hotel room for 8 months. Once he bought a house, we renovated it for him. Can you go to the beginning of my slide? Oh, there we go. And then my husband, Joseph Cincotta, who's going to talk next, said, hey, Riley, what if there had been this unit that you could attach to your mom's house or your dad's house? And as this is from drawing to actually installation, these are the first drawings we did. You'll see that it's a little bit different from what you saw in reality, and that is because we have a lot of people vet it and say, you know, we don't need another chair there. People want a double bed and a variety of other things. We had originally, for example, had a kitchenette in there, and Riley says, when someone's just getting out of rehab, they are not cooking for themselves. You know, just, they want to roll in and be with family. Keep going. So these are a little out of order, but that's going to be okay. Go to this one there. So Strolling of the Heifers, the local organization here, had a business plan competition, and Orly Munsing encouraged me to join. I said, you know, we've been thinking about this for 5 years. Let's do it. I entered the competition, and when all these business people gave me $10,000 to start this business and see if it would work, I couldn't pay bills. I had to do it. Keep going. So that's what we did. This is us with the prototype model at last year's Tiny House Fest. And so between the, go to the next one, that's Riley. When we decided to make a business out of this and let's make it grow, Riley's part owner in our business. And next one, we entered another competition. This is called Launch Vermont, where I won $15,000. We also did a generosity campaign that's still going on. We've raised some money there. Not being independently wealthy, I needed support to help get the prototype off the ground, which is what we've done. Another thing we did was we really feel that this can help change the way our injured service members come home. We have heard time and time again that someone who served our country in the military and is medically cleared has to stay in a hospital or a rehab facility because their home isn't accessible. And really, all these men and women want to do is go home and be home. So we went to a national small business engagement with the Veterans Association, and we are right now winding our way through the Veterans Administration, and it was just approved, and we have our first veteran applying for their specially adaptive housing grant in Illinois, and hope to install this in Illinois in November with a veteran. Keep going. Part of what I did was, this is from my newspaper article. Right away, we just started getting as much as possible publicity. That video that you saw got into the tiny house world, and I started getting inquiries from as far away as New Zealand and all over. I haven't got my actual first sale yet, but I do have my first installation. And this is it. This is one of those, you love it, but you want to cry. So I found out that I had someone who wanted to trial it for us, because this particular model is built all with prize winnings and donations. We've decided that it will never be sold. It will always be in perpetual use, hopefully for a family in southern Vermont. And we had a couple families that were ready to do it, and then for one reason or another they couldn't. And then I finally found my person. I was really happy. Turned out to be a woman I'd known for 25 years. I was really sad. She had a boogie boarding accident in April. Then again, I'm really happy I could help my friend. And her husband's a landscaper. So look at how it looks at their house. It's amazing. This is showing the gray water system that comes out into the yard. The bottom slide shows, in this particular installation, because Rod P. Meyer is a landscape, They didn't want to make it real close to the house. They wanted it to fit in with the yard so Cynthia could be with her flowers and that sort of thing. So this is a little bit more of an elaborate connection than most people would have. But that was fine. Let's see. Then you get a better idea of how they decided to work. They decided to just have a new front door. Now it's complete. Somewhere in there, there's a picture of myself and a woman who was raised in Brattleboro, but now works for Woman's Day magazine. When I first was contacted by Woman's Day magazine, I had no idea that this woman grew up in Brattleboro, Dummerston area. Unbeknownst to me, there was a competition because Women's Day magazine is starting their very first Socialpreneur Award, like an entrepreneurial who solves a social problem. So I was contacted and told that WheelPad is going to be their very first Socialpreneur Award, and we will be featured in Women's Day magazine in December. I'm going to ask everyone to get the December issue.
Hi, my name is Joseph. I will talk about what we call WheelPad 2.0, which is really the transition from this kind of drawing and theoretical concept that we developed with the wonderful students at Norwich University to an actual installation. So there's so much more that we're learning, and we have, in the meantime, from this, ordered the next 3 wheel pads. The production started. We're having trailers, we had trailers re-engineered. We reduced the cost and improved the functionality of the trailers themselves. But let me take you through it. I'm really excited about what we've got going on. So this was pretty much as we towed it from Norwich University. We toured through 3 or 4 hospitals, 4 hospitals throughout Vermont, made stops. The staff were at the various hospitals came out and were stunned. There's nothing like this. And the input and heartfelt comments that we got from that were really helpful in us evolving. But we had this problem with a site that was extremely tight, and a wonderful friend and professional builder, Gary Ubernati, welded a Volkswagen front end to actually pull it in because there was no way a truck could haul it into the site. Next, I think that's a video. Hover your mouse over the center. So you can see him actually kind of steering this. It's being pushed by a mini excavator on the other side. And it's just this awesome Rube Goldberg-esque contraption that did the job, man. You gotta love it. Just love it. So next. So when we did get it in, you can see it is very tight in there. There's no way we could have pulled it in with the truck. We now had this idea of the owner saying, hey, we actually want it to be sort of more in the garden so we could have a little bit of a distance. And as you can see, the path at the bottom, that goes to their front door, which is sort of between this living room wing that's in the front on the left and that back dining room wing that pops out between the house and the wheel pad. That's their dining room. So the front door was there, and I'm going to block their front door. So being an architect, we started to sketch ideas about how it would work, and we decided a porch would be the most wonderful thing. Next. And so we set ourselves to putting in a porch entry that would do both. And originally the idea was, it would probably be easier to break through a window, and because you'd have less to remove, you could just remove the window and just cut the bottom part. The beam at the top of the window is already there, and that's usually big enough for a doorway. So we were kind of thinking that was the way we were going to go. When we originally planned it, we had all these bay windows there. And it actually worked out easier, again, experience being the best teacher, to put the wheel pad entrance through the wall and cut that out. We also came up with a very cool modular system where we built the frames and just stacked them on. You can see in the next slide where we actually put those up one at a time on those beams that you saw. Next slide. Oh, that's right, that's a video. So it includes the porch roof extension, as you can see, and it all had to tuck in underneath the house roof and connected to a wheel pad. The wheel pad itself had a flat surface made out of MDO plywood, which is super flat paper-based plywood, so I could weather strip it easily. This is the vista. So architects tend to look at things lining up. Sometimes we go too far, but in this particular case, if you can line up a door with a window and get that view from the house, I never block the view of the garden. And there's this kind of comfortable vista that worked nicely. And here you can see the wheel pad sort of almost completely hidden by the garden. Next. And there's the porch. I apologize for a slightly dark slide. It is a south-facing porch, and that is a very rare condition. And I often come there with, when I've been there, it's been occupied for about 5 weeks now, and people meet each other on the porch, as they usually do. And it's accessible to it right away. Speaking of slides that are out of sequence, one of the problems of the wheel pad, and watch how I mold this in right into the flow, okay? Let's see, you can give me ratings after this. One of the things of the wheel pad is we didn't want the wheel wells to come up and block the floor area. Remember, for someone who's in a wheelchair, the floor area is absolutely critical. That's where you don't want bumps. So we had to figure out a way to have the trailer fully floor open. So that puts the height of the floor about here, 38 inches, when it's finished and insulated and all that. And that's a challenge, because there aren't many houses that are at 38 inches. We thought, oh, well, we'll dig the ground. That won't take more than a couple hours. As you can see, we had a very beautiful ground there. We couldn't do that. So we got into a different situation. Let's see what the next slide is, and let's see if it blows. We took the wheels off, and we actually put it down on wood blocks, all right? Cribbing, they call it, 8x8s. And it's set right down low, so that we only needed 7 inches to get to the level of the house. And these are some of the patent drawings that show the major challenges. So that's a traditional trailer, and it's the trailer that we use here. Our new design, I began the talk by telling you about this new engineering that we came up with for the trailer, actually takes the skid, which would be, go back please, yeah. Think of these joists as being a separate skid that's bolted to the wheel pad, and only 6 bolts take it to the lower trailer part, the big steel. So I can actually now take a crane, not have to worry about that Volkswagen thing. That was cool, it was very cool, I liked it. And just crane the wheel pad right next to a house on any skids and really be pretty quick. We're in the process to make it faster, cheaper, lighter, to make this affordable. We're really committed to not exceeding the $60,000 price or the $3,000, both of which make it very affordable for veterans. So we're looking at all these aspects that are labeled, ways to re-engineer and improve it. Next one, and I do need every part and piece, and we've got some amazing help from the SIP panel manufacturer, how to re-engineer it so there's less waste and it's assembled more quickly. Right up through the roofing assembly, there's a neat way. Do you guys know about elastomeric paint? If you're a wheel pad person, you might want to think about it. It's way cheaper than a roof and incredibly effective. We did a geodesic dome in Vermont with elastomeric paint. It's over 15 years old, and that's the only thing that we roofed it with. Next. Some of the features that we didn't realize how it was going to turn out. We had made these shelves in the wheel pad over the, really to carry the TV cable and some other electrical. They ended up populating them with plants. So in addition to the improvements to make it better, faster, lighter is important, we looked at the way it's being used now and how to humanize it, and that's been really gratifying. I think that's it. Oh, my favorite new accessible sign. I saw this in the Catskills. Like, yeah, man, I am accessible. You bet your ass. So anyway, we really think the wheelpad is about empowerment and bringing people home sooner. And this is the tiniest house at the festival. But if you wanted to see a model, we've got a nice model here to look at. Any questions?
Oh, come on, we weren't that good.
I saw in your brochure that you were in, conversation with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Medicare, Medicaid. Have you moved forward on any of that, or?
Depends on your, I've moved forward to I've gotten past the first 3 levels. I still haven't gotten to the level of a decision maker. It's very hard to get through those bureaucracies. I've got people helping me. Thankfully, one where I've made the most effort has been through the Veterans Administration. There's this wonderful man named Al Montoya who was the CEO of the White River Junction Veterans Administration Hospital. And he was just moved over to Manchester, New Hampshire, which is about twice as big, and he loves WheelPad because he thinks it'll help veterans get out of the hospital more quickly, and that's where I've made the biggest push so far. But I'm not giving up on Blue Cross Blue Shield or Medicaid, Medicare.
With the FEMA.
I've started talking with FEMA, and I haven't gotten past the second road yet. So if anyone has connections in FEMA, Medicaid, Medicare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, please let me know.
Yeah, what can you tell me about the heating and ventilation and air conditioning?
Excellent question from the man who I would expect to ask it. Thank you, Alex. We used a little Polonus type heater, which is just electric resistance and fan. Again, keeping the costs down. And we could get away with that and it not needing to cycle on at all because the whole structure is made out of SIP panels. When I say SIP, is everybody, plywood, foam, plywood. Like super, that's your structure. There's no studs conducting heat out. So it's very energy efficient, extremely solid, like you saw in the video. Just a wonderful material. So our engineers basically said, yeah, you don't really need much more than that. Now that we're looking at the bigger picture, an air source heat, where we're going to be in a cooling environment, air source heat pumps are important. And we'll be looking at we have an addition for an air source heat pump that's quite well.
One more question, or we're gonna speed up? All right, well, thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
And enjoy the festival.